Hello everyone, I am Dr. Preeti Khulbe. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Preeti Khulbe and today we are talking about overview of regulatory affairs and worldwide regulatory authorities. So in this topic, we are discussing about the regulatory authority and regulatory affairs. We have already discussed about this regulatory authority, what is regulatory affairs, what do you mean by regulatory authority, what are the important things we should know about the regulatory authority. We have all, we already discussed all these things in our previous video, so you can visit that previous video. This is the second video in this series of regulatory affair. So after the completion of this unit, you will be came to know about the various considerations related to regulatory affairs. That is, what is regulatory affairs, why regulatory affairs is department is needed, what is the role of regulatory affairs personnel, etc. Also, you will came to know about legal issues related to regulatory bodies. So you know that regulatory affairs are affairs is totally related to the legal department. That is, it is a legal department of governmental affair, which is governed by the government, or we can say. So you will came to know all the legal issues, why this regulatory body is required legally, what are the legal considerations of these regulatory bodies. You will will discuss in this unit. After the completion of this unit, you will also be able to know about the INDA, NDA, new drug application, investigative new drug applications, etc. Okay, other than that, you will also be aware of different countries' regulatory body after the completion of this unit. Now, learning outcomes. So, on successful completion of this unit, all the students will be able to know about the role of regulatory affair department, regulatory responsibility of regulatory affair, as well as all about the regulatory authority, regulatory bodies. We can say that this after the completion of this unit, a student is expert in the related to regulatory field knowledge. So we have already discussed about the role of regulatory affairs, the responsibility of regulatory affairs in our previous videos. We have discussed that there is a regulatory person, there is a regulatory department which is needed for the safety and efficacy of the to control the safety and efficacy of the particular product in pharmaceutical industry. So all if you need related to that introductory part, so you can visit my previous video. Now, in last video, we have discussed that there is a regulatory affair department in all healthcare related sectors. So we can say that regulatory body or regulatory affair is a government affair which involves the healthcare, the control of healthcare things, and it not only involves the pharmaceuticals, but it also involves the cosmetic product. It also involves the medical devices and agrochemicals and many all medicinal devices are comes under the this regulatory affairs, as well as the veterinary products are also controlled by the regulatory bodies. And other than that, we have also discussed about the role of regulatory affair person or regulatory affair department. So we have discussed that from the beginning, from the thought of the product development process to the when the until then the product reaches to the consumer, there is a use of regulatory affair department. After the post marketing also regulatory affair department include, and the main role of regulatory affair department is the marketing authorization. So for marketing authorization also we need the regulatory affair department. Okay, so there are multiple roles of regulatory affair departments, but all the rules and all the regulatory departments, all the things are to achieve the product quality and to control the efficacy and safety of the product for the human welfare. Okay, so for this we have in last video also we have discussed that for this each and every country has its regulatory bodies which control the the new product safety and efficacy, and which control the new product to reach to the market. So that means if we want to market certain product, we need to fulfill the demands of the regulatory body of that from that particular country. Okay, so this is the important thing related to the regulatory affair and regulatory body. So now coming to the topic, so introductory part we have already discussed in our previous video. Now come to the different regulatory bodies. So there are different regulatory bodies. There are CDSCO, there are US FDA, there are Health Canada, there are EMEA, MHRA, Australian government has also TGA, there is WHO, there are multiple regulatory bodies involved in the process of this regulatory affair. Now we'll discuss the regulatory bodies one by one. So first of all, the US regulatory environment. So US, that is United States, has the regulatory body that is known as FDA, and completely it is known as US FDA. Okay, US FDA or FDA, what is this FDA and what does FDA regulate? This is the first thing. So FDA simply means Food and Drug Administration. US FDA, if you talk about US FDA, the US FDA, United States Food and Drug Administration. So this FDA is a federal agency responsible for ensuring food related, ensuring that foods are safe, wholesome, and sanitary. Humans and veterinary drugs, biological products, and medical devices are safe and effective. Cosmetics are safe, and electronic products that emit the radiations are safe. Okay, so as per the FDA, this FDA regulates that the food which we are eating should be safe. It should be sanitary. The wholesome food is there. The human and veterinary drugs are safe. The biological products are safe. The medicinal devices we are taking are safe and effective. Cosmetic products also there is safe, and electronic products which we are using, which emits the radiations are safe. Okay, so these are some things which FDA involves. So FDA is basically a federal agency. Okay, now FDA also ensures that these products are honestly, accurately, and informatively represented to the public. So this is very important thing, that some people are making product but they don't display the information related to their product in the label. So as per FDA has the requirement that all products should be marketed, should be prepared with the honesty and accuracy, and all the information related to the product are represented to the public. So if you are making your product for the FDA for the US market, where the FDA is the governing body or the regulatory body, so you need to present all the information or all the correct information in the label. Okay, so that means the honesty and accuracy should be there, but it should be representative also. Okay. So the things which are involved in the FDA is biologics, all the biologics are involved in the FDA. So that means if there is any biological product, so FDA has a FDA can approve it for the marketing. Then if there is a cosmetic product, again FDA is involved. For example, if you have made certain food cream and you want to market it into the US market, so you have to take the approval of FDA. Okay, and you have to fulfill the all the requirements of FDA first. After that, the drugs are also there. So many drugs are there in which the FDA involvement is many, not many actually, all of the drugs are there which require the FDA approval for the marketing in US. So if you want to market the product in the US, so FDA, again FDA and FDA regulation, FDA approval is very, very important. Other than that, food, if you want to market any food items, for example, many in today's time, many food products are there. For example, many like McCain's ke aate hain. There is frozen food products as well as Maggi and also noodles. So all these products, all these food products that any of the category, they need to approve by the FDA before marketing. Next is medical devices. So medical devices are the another important thing which is there, which is very important, which is there, and for the it is also regulated by the FDA. So if you want to market any kind of medical devices, you have to approve. You have to take the approval from the FDA, and FDA is only give you the approval when you fulfill their requirements. Okay? FDA has very good requirement. The bundle of requirement we can say you should fulfill before the marketing of these type of product. Next is veterinary products. So if you also market the veterinary product, so you should also, it will also come under the FDA regulation, as well as radiation emitting electronic product. As we discussed, there is some product which you're using which emits certain electronic which emits a certain radiation, so you need to take approval from the FDA. Okay, so all these things are there when you when you want to market these products in the US market. You have to take the approval of FDA, that is biologics, cosmetics, drugs, food, medicinal devices, radiation emitting electronic products, and veterinary products. Now next is what FDA does not regulate. Okay, not all the things is regulated by the FDA. Okay, we generally heard that US FDA is there. It is a very nowadays it is a very common term. Everybody knows that US FDA is there. Yes, in FDA in US market, if you want to sell something, you need to the approval of US FDA. But no, not this correct is right. Sorry, not this sentence is not right. No, this sentence is not right because not all the products require the FDA approval. So we have already discussed that what type of product and what category of products are required the FDA approval. Now we'll discuss about what type of product are not required the FDA approval. That is, they require different thing. As an India bina approval ke you can't product your market product the you can't market your product without permission, but there should be some other agency involved, not FDA. So first one is advertising. So if you want to advertise something in the US market, so you don't need this FDA approval, but you need the approval of FTC in that case. So the advertising, the FTC, that is Federal Trade Commission, is again the federal agency which regulates all the advertisement excluding prescription drugs and medical devices. FTC ensures that advertisements are truthful and not misleading for the customers. Okay, so FDA की हमने बात की. So FDA is responsible for the drug and medical devices. अगर if the advertisement is related to the prescription drugs and medical devices, then it will be guided, it will be regulated by the FDA. And if there is The product which is the advertisement is related to the other than prescription drugs or medical devices. So all these are advertised by the or regulated by the FTC, that is Federal Trade Commission. As like as FDA, FTC is also a federal agency, and FTC ensures that because they are they are responsible for the approval of advertising, so they ensure that all the advertisement which are there are trustful, truthful, and not misleading for the customers. If it is not trustful, not truthful, or it misleads the customer, so they may take action against that advertisement. Okay. Next thing is alcohol. So the labeling and quality of alcohol beverages are regulated by the Treasury Department, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms. Okay, so that is again the other regulatory body that is in FDA. If you want to sell and market the alcohol in US market, which is also a very good market of alcohol in USA is there. So if you want to market the alcohol in the US market, so you can't market the alcohol as such. You need to you need to do the approval. You need to take the approval from the Treasury Department there, and in Treasury Department also there is a specific department which is known as ATF department, that is Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms. Okay, so ATF, that is Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms. So you need to take approval from the Treasury Department in ATFs for the advertisement of for the sale of the alcohol. Okay. Now third one is the consumer product. If some consumer products are there, then what we need to do. So while FDA regulates a large portion of the products that consumers purchase, the agency has no jurisdiction over many household goods. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is responsible for ensuring the safety of consumer goods such as household appliances, excluding those that emit the radiation, paint, child-resistant packaging, and baby toys. Okay, so if we talk about the consumer products, so mostly products are consumer products like cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, all are comes under the consumer product, but they are regulated by the FDA. So most of the part of the consumer products are covered by the FDA or regulated by the FDA, but some consumer products are like related to the household appliances, for example. So this household appliances are not regulated by the FDA. The regulation of these household appliances are done by the Consumer Product Safety Commission, that is CPSC. Okay, CPSC, that is Consumer Product Safety Commission. It is responsible for the for the regulation of household things, and in this if the household thing is that it is it releases the it emits the radiation, so it should be covered under the FDA. Okay, and other than that, other than that, household appliances, other than household appliances, the paints, the child resistant packages and baby toys, all are all are regulated by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Okay, so that is CPSC. Next is the drugs of abuse. So illegal drugs with no approved medical use, such as heroin and marijuana, are under the jurisdiction of the Drug Enforcement Administration. Okay, so that is, as we have discussed, that FDA is responsible for all the pharmaceutical and medical products. But here the point of interest is that the drug of abuses, that is drug which are not approved, which are not having that approved medical use. Okay. So this type of drugs are not, regulated by the FDA. This type of drugs are regulated by the Drug Enforcement Administration. Okay, so DEA ke through it is approved, and DEA represents the Drug Enforcement Administration. Okay. Uh, Next is the health insurance. So FDA does not regulate health insurances. The cost of healthcare products, procedures, or reimbursement for health and medical expenses. Questions related to the Medicare should be directed to the Center for Medicare and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services are responsible for this. Okay, so we can say that again the health insurances, because it is also we can say related to the health, public health. So all the things related to the public health mostly covered by the FDA, but at the same time, this is also true that the health insurances which are claim reimbursement, certain claim related to health insurance are not regulated by the FDA. For the regulation of this type of thing, health insurances, you have to go for the Centers for Medical and Medicare Services, that is CMMS. Okay, CMMS is represented by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Okay, so yeah, so we can say that other than FDA, there are many regulatory agencies which are involved in the US market. First one is FTC, that is Federal Trade Commission. It is responsible for the advertising. Alcohol is, regulated by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms, which is, under the Department of Treasury. Then other thing is Consumer Product Safety Commission is there, which is responsible for the regulation of household appliances, paints, child resistance packages, and baby toys, etc. Then Drug Enforcement Administration is there, DEA. So it is responsible for the drug of abuses regulations. Then the health insurances. Health insurances are regulated by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Now, other than that, there are some other things are also there. That is meat and poultry. So, meat or poultries are the things which are regulated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, that is Food Safety and Inspection Services. Okay, so this U.S. Department of Agriculture, in this specific department is there, that is Food Safety and Inspection Services. This is responsible for the safety and labeling of traditional meat and poultry. So like poultry type of things are there, meats are there. So all are regulated. If you want to market this type of thing in the in the US, so you need to take approval from the US Department of Agriculture there, and thus the Department of Food Safety and Infections and Inspection Services are there. Other than that, FDA regulates the game meats such as venison, ostrich, and snakes. So there are some game meats are there. So these are covered. These are regulated by the FDA. So it is a little confusion about this, that if you want to market the related to the meat, traditional meat items, so you need to first think that, yeah, is it the traditional meat or it is a game meat. So then you can apply for the approval of marketing approval. Okay, so for meat and poultry, two things, two regulatory agencies are involved. First one is Food Safety and Inspection Services, and second, FDA is there. Next is the pesticides. So FDA, US FDA and the Environment Protection Agency share the responsibilities for regulating the pesticides. Okay, so if you want to regulate, if you want to market the pesticides there, so there is no specific one regulatory agency which is responsible for this for regulating the pesticides, but there are three agencies, that is FDA is also responsible, USDA is also responsible, as well as EPA, that is Environmental Protection Agency, is also there, which is responsible for the pesticides regulation. EPA, that is Environmental Protection Agency, determines the safety and effectiveness of the chemicals, and establishes tolerance levels for residue on feed crops, as well as for raw and processed food items. Okay, so this type of thing is there, that this APA determines the safety and effectiveness of the chemical and establish tolerance level for the residue of the feed crops, as well as the raw material and unprocessed food. So if unprocessed food type of food are there, so again the EPA is responsible for the safety and effectiveness of that. Now next is restaurants and grocery stores. So if there is any restaurant or grocery stores is there in the US market, so who is responsible for the regulation of this type of things? So we can say that the inspections and licensing of restaurants and grocery stores are typically handled by the local country health department. Okay, so again, there is no FDA involvement in the restaurants and grocery stores, but these are inspection related to the food and all of the things which are there, and grocery items. So all these things, the local country health department is responsible. Next is the water. So the because water is also an important, water is also play an important role in the public health. So the water, the regulation of water is divided between the EPA, that is Environmental Protection Agency, and FDA. Okay, so if we talk about the water, for example, sailing of water and regulation of water in the US market, I think mainly it is a drinking water. So the FDA is also responsible, but not the only FDA, but along with the FDA, the EPA, that is Environmental Protection Agency, is also involved there. Now, EPA has the responsibility for developing national standards. EPA has the responsibility for developing national standards for drinking water from the municipal water supply. FDA regulates the labeling and the safety of bottled water. Okay, so we have discussed that both the FDA and EPA is involved, is responsible for the regulation of the drinking water. So in this, the development of drinking water from the municipal water supply, the EPA is involved, that is Environmental Protection Agency is involved, whereas the FDA is responsible for the labeling as well as bottled water safety of bottled water, and labeling of regulation, regulate the labeling related to the water. ठीक है, वाटर बॉटल्स की लेवलिंग में अगर कोई चीज गलत है तो you can go for the FDA for this. Now the US regulatory environment. So US FDA, that is United States Food and Drug Administration, is there in the US regulatory environment. So FDA's role and responsibilities. FDA role and responsibilities. So FDA is regulating drugs, foods, cosmetics, biologics, and medicinal devices. This we have already discussed. The medicinal devices, food items, cosmetics, all are medicinal devices, all are related to the FDA. And FDA, and we have already discussed that some things are there which are not involved in the FDA, but these things are involved in FDA, specifically drugs. So drugs is responsible, FDA is responsible for administration, enforcement, and entrapment of US drug laws, and has power to establish the regulations which have the force and effect by law. Okay, so FDA has all the authorities that related to drugs, all the all the decisions related to the drugs administration, enforcement, and entrapment can be taken, and interpretation can be taken by the FDA. Again, FDA can force it by the effect of law. FDA has developed policies, procedures, and regulations to implement its regulatory initiatives. So FDA is not there for the for just the approval of drug, but FDA has also developed some policies, procedures, and regulations which are implemented its regulatory initiatives, and some going beyond the intent of the original laws. Okay. Now, the drug registration is in the US is one of the most rigorous system in the world. Okay, so that is as we discussed that FDA has a 1,000 pages of documents which are there related. You have to file if you are going to market your product in US. Okay, so this drug registration, we can say that in the US is one of the most rigorous system in the world. Now, overview of FDA organization. Now, top level. So, first of all, the top level organization is there. Overview of FDA organization. So first of all, the top level organization is there. In top level, first of all is Office of Commissioner is in the top level of organization in FDA. Then Office of Regulatory Affairs. Then Centers for Product Jurisdiction is there. Okay, product judiciary is there basically. So Office of Commissioner, Office of Regulatory Affairs, and the Center for the Product Jurisdiction is there for the in the top level management of the FDA. In product jurisdiction, the CDER and CBER is there. That is CDER, that is the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. CBER is also involved in this, that is Center for Biologics and Evaluation and Research. Then CDRH, that is the Center for Devices and Radiological Health. CVM, that is Center for Medicine, Veterinary Medicine. CFSAN, that is Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition is there. And then NCTR is there, that is National Center for Toxicological Research. Okay, so we can say that in top level of management, the Office of Commissioner, Office of Regulatory Affairs, the Product Jurisdiction. Other than that, in all the centers related to the products which are approved by the which are under the approval of the FDA is there, because the drug is there. Drug can be approved by the FDA, so Center of Drug Evaluation. Biologics, so Center of Biologics. Radiology, because radiation devices which emits the radiation can cover. Veterinary, so veterinary is there. So all the product center is there which are under the approval of FDA. Now, second thing is there are certain things related to the new product in market. So new generic product and market reaches after the approval of many things. Okay, first the innovative and concept and ideas there. When there is an innovation and concept ideas there, then there is a approval of INDs, that is before the after the preclinical trial. For the clinical trial, we need the INDs approval. After that, we need the NDA approval for the product marketing. Then ANDA, that is for the patent, we need the NDA approval. Then ANDA approval is there for the exclusive patent exclusivity, and then the new product, new generic product has come into the US market. Okay, so next is the European market, that is EU regulatory environment. Okay, so in Europe, there is the EMA is there, that is okay. So we have discussed that there is NDA, there is INDA, there is ANDA, which has to be approved before the product come to the market in the US market. So after the approval of all these, that is investigated new drug application, the new drug application, as well as abbreviated new drug application, all the approvals you should have when you take the market to the US market. Now, the European regulatory environment. So, if we talk about the European agency or European market for the approval, so we can say that in abhi tak we have discussed about the US market only. Okay, European market की हम बात करें, so Europe, as the US has the US FDA regulatory body, similarly the Europe has the regulatory body, that is EMA. EMA stands for the European Medicine Agency. Yes, European Medicine Agency. EMA is responsible for the approval of drug or pharmaceuticals or medicinal devices or cosmetics in the Europe market. So here you can see there are multiple things. Europe, complete Europe picture is given. Now, evaluation of the Europe regulatory environment since 1995. So, in 1995, birth of the EMA is there, that is European Medicine Market. European Medicine Environmental Agency, sorry. So, EMA 1995, EMA centralized procedure is launched. In 2000, the orphan drugs are regulated by the EMA. Then Annex 1 is come in 2003. Then after that, in 2004, new legislation, Title 4 is immediately launched there. Then in 5, new legislation fully enforced. After that, in 2006, pediatrics regulations are added into the EMA. Then in 2007, legislation on advanced therapy is, entered into it. In 2008, enlarged scope of CP is there. Then in 2010, new variation regulations is there. New pharmacovigilance legislation is introduced in 2012. Implementation of new legislation is there. So this is all related to the European market. We will discuss the European market in detail in our next class. Okay, so these are the references. So if you want in detail, want the introduction part related to the regulatory affairs and role of regulatory affair person, why regulatory affairs is needed. So you can visit my previous video related to the regulatory affair. And if you want to know in detail about the FDA, US FDA authority, as well as the EMA, that is the European Market Authorization Regulatory Body. So you can go for this video. Okay. For references, you can watch the you can go for the Google. You can Google the about the regulatory affairs, as well as you can specifically go for the sites of FDA as well as EMA for detail related to the related to this topic. Now, which is the main role of regulatory affairs? This is the first question. That is the promotion of new drug product, taking part in innovation of the formulation, safety and efficacy of the product as per regulation laid down by the government, or market the new product. So answer C is correct. That is safety and efficacy of the product as per regulation laid by the government is the main role of regulatory authority. Regulatory affair involved in the market the new product, involved in the promotion of new product, also taking part on in the innovation of the formulation. But the major role, the main role here is asking. So main role is safety and efficacy of the product as per the regulations laid by the government. Next is on an average, how many years are required for a new product, a new drug product? So on an average, 15 to 20 years are required for a new product to launch to come to the market. This we have discussed in our last class. So is 15 to 20 is right, 5, 10, 1, 2, and 10, 20 is wrong. So answer is correct. That is on an average, at least 10 to 20 years are required for a new product, new drug development. Next is the application for permission to permission to import or manufacture a new drug to begin a new clinical trial in India is related to Form 122DAA, 122D, 122A, 44. So 44D is the correct answer. D44 is the correct answer. So that is application for permission to import or manufacture a new drug to begin a new clinical trial in India is related to Form 44. Next is common technical document, and common document technical document has how many modules? Is it 5, 3, 4, or 55? So the common technical document has 5 modules. So answer A is correct. Next is MOH, that is Medicine of Health, or Ministry of Health, or Ministry of Human, or Medicine for Health for Human stands for. So MOH क्या हो सकता है? So MOH, the correct answer for MOH is Ministry of Health. ठीक है? We haven't discussed it in this slide, but in last slide we have already discussed this question. So you should know that now. This MOH is a regulatory body and it stands for the Ministry of Health. Okay. So this is our first question. Second question. Third question. Fourth question. And then Ministry of Health is. The next question is Ministry of Health is a regulatory agency of, as we discussed that it is a regulatory agency. कहाँ की regulatory agency है? Is it from India, Nepal, Sri Lanka or UK? So the right answer is Sri Lanka. So that is MOH is a regulatory agency of Sri Lanka. This is the right answer. Next is which is not true about regulatory affair. It means government affair. Not true, right? Yes, it is a government affair. It is true. Regulatory affair is a profession which has developed from the desire of governments to protect the public health. Next is it takes part in marketing, distribution and distribution capability. Next is regulatory affair is a profession within the healthcare industry. So that is answer C is correct. That is it takes part in marketing, distribution and distribution capability is not true about the regulatory affair. Now next is what is CPSC in terms of regulatory affairs. So when we talk about regulatory affair, what is CPSC? Consumer Product Safety Commission. We have discussed this right in these slides only, today's slides only. It is a Consumer Product Safety Commission, a Consumer Product Safety Product Safety Commission, Consumer Process Safety Commission, or Consumer Process Safety Condition, which is true. So answer A is correct. That is CPSC is Consumer Product Safety Commission, and we have discussed it in that consumer product are regulated by Consumer Product Safety Commission. Okay. Next is what is FTC in terms of regulatory affairs. This also we have discussed in today's slide. FTC is related to the advertisement. So advertisement, it is FTC is Federal Trade Commission, Food Trade Commission, Four Stars Commission, or Formal Trade Commission. So the answer is correct. That is FTC is related to the Federal Trade Commission. Okay, so and it is related to the advertisement of many things. FTC. Next is the application for permission to import a new drug in India is related to form. Okay, if you want to market your product, if you want to import your product in Indian market, so you need to file a form. You have to fill a form. That form is 44, 120A, 120B, or 120D. So form 120D is the right answer. So if the application for permission to import a new drug in India is related to form 44. Okay, so we have discussed all 10 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So thanks for your attention, and in today's lecture we have discussed about different regulatory bodies, basically US FDA and European regulatory body, that is EMA. So if you want a detailed video related to the introduction of regulatory bodies, so you can visit my previous videos. And if you want the study related to the other countries regulatory bodies, so you can see my further videos, coming videos. So thanks for watching.